One of the most common techniques that you'll have to deal with in a self-defense situation is a headlock. Some of the most common things that happen in fights are pushes, sucker punches, and headlocks. But we don't see a lot of those in jiu-jitsu because once you start training jiu-jitsu a while, you realize that headlocks are not advisable techniques. It's not that they can't work, it's just that they're low percentage and they allow your opponent to counter you really easily. It's not a choke, so you're not going to put somebody to sleep with it, but you can make them uncomfortable. That being said, jiu-jitsu is all about a smaller, weaker person being able to handle a bigger, stronger, more aggressive person. And so if someone big and strong gets a hold of your neck, you're gonna have a bad day even if they're not choking you. So it's really important to learn these headlock escapes. So what we're gonna do, Ilias is gonna get me in a headlock. And I wanna explain what makes a headlock different than scarf hold. Exactly, so he grabs my head and he's just gonna grab his own grip and he can squeeze. That's gonna be really bad for me, it sucks. He's not gonna choke me or put me to sleep, but this is like the schoolyard bully position, right? Where we're pinned on our back. It's not a good situation. The difference between this and Keisagatame is he doesn't have an underhook on this side. So I could get on my side and conceivably come out and take his back. That's not what we're gonna do for this escape too. Though, and like once again, just to demonstrate it, that although this headlock is not something that I advise, if you do jiu-jitsu, you will eventually stop doing headlocks by and large, just because they're very low reward for high risk. But go ahead and crank on my head. Go ahead and do it. Okay. So not fun, right? Still not choking, still not going to sleep, and not fun. So how do I stop this? I'm going to build a frame, and I'm going to support that frame. And you feel immediately that the pressure is off my neck. So my outside hand makes a frame, my inside hand supports that frame. So if Ilias were to try to crank on my neck again, it's still going to be really difficult for him. Step one is survive. We survive, then we escape. Now, I'm going to bridge into him and move my hips a little bit away. As I move my hips away, that creates what we call a dead corner. The reason it's called a dead corner, Ilias has committed 2 hands to cranking on my neck, right? What that means is those hands are not available for him to post. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to push with my frames, bridge up, as I take him toward that dead corner and he's unable to post. Immediately now, I'm gonna let go of my frames and post my hands. The reason for that is a big, strong guy is often gonna just say, hey, I got his head, I'm just gonna keep squeezing and rolling, and I'm gonna end up right back in that same position, which is not what we want, right? So that's why we take our own hands off and post on the mat, and I'll show that again in just a second. So I make my frames to stop him from smashing me, move my hips away. As I get my hips away from him, I'm lifting and bridging and bringing him up to the dead corner, right? We're also gonna go over how to attack from here with an armbar, because at that point, the paradigm shifts from he has my head to I have his arm. So I'm gonna show this a different way now, because Ilias and I are roughly the same size, right? And so I'm often able, just by bridging, to just get up on top. But sometimes, if your opponent is bigger and stronger, you're gonna need to use something else. And we're gonna use our outside leg to pendulum and possibly even catch his head. So if I can just do the move, I'll just do the move. The easier a move can be, the better. So I have my frames, right? We're surviving. It might not be comfortable, but we're not gonna go to sleep. So move my hips away. We'll address what to do if he follows your hips in just a minute. So, like I said, if the person is roughly your size, you can just push them toward the dead corner the way I just did and bridge. But often what you'll need to do is the outside leg is going to pendulum up to help you get up. Or, if they're really tough and trying to squeeze, you're going to catch his leg, come up like that. So, that just gives you a little bit of additional force. It can also help like separate his ear from his shoulder, which is what he's trying to do to crank. Hands come out, post on the mat. Ilias tries to roll me now. Really, really hard. So that is our dead corner escape from the headlock. Key details, build the frame and support that frame. We have to survive before we escape. You can have the best headlock escapes in the world. If your neck gets cranked and your day gets ruined, it doesn't really matter. So survive first with the frames, move your hips away, and then either by bridging into the dead corner or penduluming your leg, take him toward the dead corner. And we'll figure out how to armbar him in the next video.